the ordinance.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second discussion. Roll call, please.
Moore, oh, sorry, here. McCoy,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Askew,
Yes.
Lindsey,
Yes.
Argid.
Yes.
All right. We're ready now for ordinance number 421. Who will introduce?
I'll introduce.
Ordinance 421, an ordinance permitting an official of the Camden Airport Commission to be interested in contracts with the city of Camden, Arkansas.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and second. We're ready for discussion.
Question. This only pertains specifically to Mr. Gatlin, since he is a commissioner. How does this?
He's not just a commissioner. is he?
Right, so in general, anybody that is either elected or holds office on the city council or on the commission is prohibited from having any contracts with the city. In this case, we have two commissioners that have private businesses. The first one, Kyle Gatlin, has Gatlin's Heating and Cooling. And the second one that you're on the agenda coming up is going to be Tim Jordan Company. Tim Jordan sits on the airport commission. What this allows is the council specifically stating that they're going to authorize Tim Jordan Company and Gatlin Heating and Cooling to take on bids, submit requests to the city of Camden in general. There's a state statute that requires that to be done. There was one passed for each of these back in 2017. There hasn't been one since then. But right now, we are under current ordinance that approves it, but just as a measure of being over cautious, I think it's prudent to go ahead and have another one. The statute doesn't really say 1 year, 2 years, 4 years. So we passed one in 2017. This will basically renew that. As to what business they do, I would say the Tim Jordan Company is probably less problematic from the standpoint of that he has submitted bids, but I don't remember him actually ever receiving one. He didn't hire. He's got on a big project, bids have to be received, quotes have to be obtained, so this would allow Tim Jordan to submit a quote. In general, I'd say that has not been qualified as the best bidder on those. His bid has been used to find out what a project would cost. Gatlin's Heating and Air, I think, would be at least more problematic because they do work out there. It's usually a lower cost, but there's actually more work done. That business does do work for the city. Now, and I would say this doesn't require either of those two entities to be used at any time. So they're never required to be used. And if they are used, they still have to either submit a bid, submit quotes, and you still have to go through all the same purchasing requirements. If it's over $20,000, you still got to do bids. If it's over that, so you still got to match all those requirements. It just puts the businesses in line with the second entity.
Am I correct that this would allow them to be, it wouldn't have to be just airport business, it could be anything in the
That's
city
correct.
that
That's correct.
this would have to apply to?
That's
So
correct.
whether an air conditioner needed to be put up here,
That's
it'd give him the opportunity to bid.
That's correct.
And when I have in the past been allowed to do business, they also set a cap on how much I can make a year. So whenever I've done business, a motion was made to say he can only make $1,500 per year. So you also have that as an option to do to other people, because I think right now, I don't think I've seen it done to anybody else. Go ahead, sir.
Does the law, or do we have a rule that describes that we do this individually and upon request, or do we just do one general,
It has to be individual to that individual business.
as it comes up?
A specific, not as it comes up, but just as to each, you can't just pass a general ordinance
Right.
that lists all the companies.
No, I mean, excuse me for cutting you off. I was referencing if there's people that's on commissions and boards that, rather than come back in each individual time, I was referencing that. So I'm saying, do we have to do each one individually?
No, it is not each individual transaction, this is just granting approval.
But But each individual company that's gonna bid has to be named specifically in
This
the
is for
ordinance.
each-
Specific, okay,
not for each
okay, I got it,
individual
yeah,
contract.
okay.
Or at least not the way this is written and not the state law is. Now, the council has the ability, and the mayor referenced, and I would have to look at that one, but the council can either approve it in whole, can not approve it at all, in which case the person can't do any of it, or the council can add a restriction on it, or, and say, each and every time a person wants to do something, they need to come before the council. Now, it doesn't say we couldn't do that, but the state law doesn't require that. And I would say that for the purpose of putting in quotes and bids, if they had to come back before the council and get permission to put in a bid, I think that would negate the whole purpose of it, which is to be sure we're getting bids from enough entities to gauge how much the project would cost. So if they had to come back, I would think by that time, they would just say, well, we're gonna get a quote from, we'll have to find someone else.
Can't wait a month.
Can't wait a
for-
month to come and get permission to do it.
Is there any more discussion? Those in favor, use voting sign. Well,
Roll
no,
call.
this is roll call,
Now,
sorry.
so this also is an ordinance, so if it's the council desire, there would be a motion to suspend the rules and place it on final reading.
I make a motion to suspend the rules and put it up for the third and final reading.
Second motion.
Moved in second, is there more discussion on the suspension of the rule? Roll call vote.
Askew,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
McCoy,
Yes.
Argid,
Yes.
Lindsey.
Yes. Make a motion to approve now.
Second.
Is there more, it's been moved in second, is there any more discussion? Roll call.
McCoy,
Yes.
Lindsey,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Argid,
Yes.
Askew.
Yes.
421 has been approved. Who will introduce ordinance number 521?
I will.
Second.
Ordinance 521, an ordinance permitting an official of the Camden Airport Commission to enter into contracts with the city of Camden, Arkansas.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to suspend the rules and put it up for third and final reading.
Second.
It's been moved in second, in discussion. Roll call.
McDonald,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
McCoy,
Yes.
Askew,
Yes.
Argid,
Yes.
Lindsey.
Yes. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Lindsey,
Yes.
Askew,
Yes.
Argid,
Yes.
McCoy,
Yes.
McDonald,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Now we are, the mayor, no, we're up to ordinance number 621. Who will introduce 621?
I will.
Ordinance 621, an ordinance of the city council of the city of Camden, Arkansas, amending Camden Code Section 251, ordinance numbers 576, 389, and 896, regarding purchases up to $1,000 and for other purposes.
Make a motion to approve.
Moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Ready for discussion? Did everybody, I sent out an email because the auditors have advised against this. Ms. Lauren is present. She was involved in the email that we sent. Somehow we went from $100 and we voted to go, we agreed to go to $500. And now we're shifting it to $1,000. And the auditors said no to that and to the credit card in the same email. They were advised against, they didn't say no. They advised against that. Is there any discussion?
Well, reading that, it says, well, I guess I'm not sure who's saying what exactly, but, this is saying our auditors do not think it's a good idea to get the credit card. As far as the 1,000 request, I believe that $500 shouldn't be an issue. It used to be 100 when Phil was chairman, but $100 are inviting. So they don't say you can't. I don't know why they don't say why it's a bad idea to have the credit card.
Okay.
But does anybody know any more about it than that?
Well, I can probably speak on some of this. The only thing that is on, well, what is on this is the purchase of items up to $1,000.
Right.
Is what we're dealing with, and the credit cards. I guess I want to be sure, kind of limiting the discussion. Part of the issue is in making purchases of less than $1,000, is in waiting to have a airport commission meeting, and there would be an approval of the minutes, where they approve each and every expenditure, and then that comes back to the city to pay. So that one of them is just a matter of time. Any of the expenditures have to fall within a line item for budgeted expense. So if someone wants to make a purchase of $100, if it's for buying a cat, that is still not a valid legal expense. So it's got to fall into a budgeted criteria. So assuming you have a budgeted criteria, what this would allow is for a requisition purchase order to be submitted by the chairman to say, okay, we spent $450 on this item, and it has to fit into the line item category. The credit card, well, the $1,000 matches with what has traditionally been the limit essentially for department heads. I think the city ordinance has 0 to 100 in our ordinance, it has 100 to 1,000, and then it has over 1,000 to 20,000. So we kind of break it down in our city ordinance. Within city government, it does not reference specifically an external commission. Even operating under the assumption that those figures would still count, under 1,000 requires just one verbal quote. So you call up Packers and say, I want to buy toner, and they say it's $80, and the person can just go ahead and buy it. From 100 to 1,000, we've got to have two verbal quotes. You've got to call Packers, and you've got to call Dan Cooks. Say, how much is that toner going to cost? It's $150 to take the lowest one. Over $1,000 requires two quotes and the mayor's permission at over $1,000. Over $20,000 requires a competitive bidding process. Now that was just changed by the legislature to increase it to $35,000, and it has to go up. That's something they've been pushing for a long time. So the total amount that the mayor will be authorized to spend is going up to $35,000 before competitive bids have to be approved. So what this would deal with is just 0 to 1,000. The question is whether or not an airport commission chairman has authority to make purchases up to $1,000, or has to come back before the entire airport commission. So right now, I'd say they would come before the airport commission, so we want to make the purchase for $600. Airport commission approves it, those minutes are submitted, and that's considered, that's the approval process. Then when it goes to the mayor, it comes back to the treasurer's office. So what this deals with is the airport commission authorized to make purchases from $100 to $1,000 to be in line with the city ordinance that goes 0 to 100, 100 to 1,000, and then 1,000 over 20. So we're kind of matching up with that. I would say that's the discretion of the council, obviously. The credit card is a function of modern banking and banking society moving, in that we are still operating under handwritten checks, and that's primarily the only way that we purchase anything to the city, and that's true for the county. There are more and more items you have to purchase online, and it becomes harder and harder to purchase them with a handwritten check. The airport commission has gone to a Microsoft Office account, is what part of this. That Microsoft Office account is KCDH, and so that is their email have it. But they will not take a hard copy check because it's Microsoft. So that has to be paid by some kind of credit card. What they have done in the past is the chairman charges a personal credit card, submits an invoice, submits the receipt, and then is reimbursed directly to him. That's been a workaround, that does work, that is gonna show up on the financials as being a payment to the charity. In my mind, makes it look, really more like, because he's not trying to buy it on his credit card, he just wants to find a way, how do I buy this for the airport commission, they've said they want it, they've approved the purchase, but it's gotta be done on some kind of credit or debit card. I think the concern with it, with any type of credit card is going to be, once it's charged, an item is charged, the actual receipt for that purchase, that original receipt has to be turned in to the treasurer's office to get paid. So the concern is that if a charge is made, and once it's made, the person no longer has an incentive to keep up with the receipts, bill comes in, and here the charge is being made, and then the treasurer says, where are the receipts? And the person says, well, I put them in the car, they're in the glove box, I can't find them. There's a whole lot more incentive for the person to keep up with the receipts when they don't get paid until they actually do it. So I mean, I think that has been the auditor's concern, not obviously with this particular chairman, but just in general on credit cards. I think the airport's position is that, officers use credit cards to charge gasoline, to the vehicles, and if they are authorized to use credit cards and have that authority, then the chairman of the airport commission ought to have the authority to charge up to $1,000. That's kind of the need for it, and I think that's the concern for it. I would think that, Lauren could give more explanation. I don't know that I saw, I'm not sure which email you're looking at, so that may have been when I was on or not, but I think that's the concern, is just, you have a credit card, you still gotta have it backed up, receipts original from, I went to Sam's Club and I bought this particular item, you gotta have that receipt. And so I think the concern would be, we have to charge it, receipt,
Point of clarity on this, the airports commission's position, obviously they in favor of this, and has there been a meeting where they record this in the minutes?
So that's how it got on here, so there, I think the mayor was at the meeting last month, this was discussed, and they made a motion to, increase the spending limit for the chairman up to $1,000 and request a credit card.
So it is reflected in the minutes?
Yes, it was requested in their minutes and came back down, that's what caused the treasurer then to contact the auditors and get a response and look into it more and find out, we have a meeting, what are the concerns. Like I say, there may be additional concerns, but I know that part of it is to be sure, anytime you're dealing with a credit or debit card, that is, subject to abuse, that certainly opens up the doors to, need to be more cautious with it, more careful. It'd be like having children, not giving a credit card. On the other hand, in today's world, it's becoming very difficult to take care of things without having some way of extra purchase. And when you try to do business, and they say, you have a credit card, you have a number, no, we don't do it, send us a hard copy invoice, and we'll send you a check, after we have the meeting and after it comes back through. That's just, eventually that's gonna go the way of the dinosaur. So this is just kind of a transition of how to do it.
Yes, sir.
Let me just say, I had called Kyle to ask him a little about this and have him explain it to me before I got here to vote on it. And he said, he didn't mention the Microsoft deal, but I'm trying to think, my computer stuff, that they don't send me an invoice about it. It just comes out on a credit card. So there's nothing to turn in other than what I see on the thing. I guess you could show maybe something where you originally agreed to it and got a email saying thank you for your purchase, but once that's in, it's just a monthly thing.
I think we discussed that, there has to be the monthly, like a statement.
You can only get a credit card statement.
Even pretty long,
Yeah.
that would be considered original.
But he was saying, things come up that you've got to order. If the tractor breaks down, you've got to buy a bush hog blade or a part or something, and it's not going to be here in town. It's not something you can run and get. So you've got to get on the internet and order the thing and have it shipped. And there again, like it's a credit card. They're not going to hang around and wait for a check for something where you don't do monthly business, so, maybe, I'm wondering if we should put some kind of, I'm thinking a footnote or some understanding, say, okay, Kyle, if you're gonna be the possessor of this card, just know that if you, somehow the paperwork is missing, you bought it. We're not, you know, to have it where really the burden, he really knows it's not on him. I'd kinda like to have that as an understanding. I don't think he'll be a problem with it, but, just for our coverage, for him or whoever follows him up, if they're gonna have a credit card, they gotta produce the right paperwork. And I wanna be sure he knows how the paperwork will be handled. If that statement on that recurring Microsoft bill is not adequate, then,
I think it'd be good for Ms. Robertson to give her opinion, but I would say, what I think you're saying is, charges on a credit card that are not accompanied by the original, receipt will be the sole responsibility of the private individual.
that's right. Loser pays.
So we're thinking about that if she wants,
Well, I wanna,
or you.
yeah, but I would like for Ms. Robertson to speak, but ultimately, if this doesn't go right, I'll be the one who, has to go before the state. And with, having had the auditors to already advise against it, I just wanna state my position is, we have a credit card here. If there are some purchases that come up, a lot of people here do use our credit card, and Ms. Rose makes sure that all of mine have been accompanied with the receipt. So they've had no trouble out of getting those receipts, having those things turned in. We do have a city credit card that we have been using, and police department, some other department heads do have those, with the exception of Public Works. So we do have a way of making purchases. The Zoom account, when we were unable to meet in person, is actually on a credit card, and it cycles every single month. Do you have any opinion, Mrs. Robertson, before we take the vote? Do you have an opinion before we take the vote?
I don't. I mean, I can work with whatever, I just have to get the paperwork. I have to have receipts, and like y'all said, if I don't have backup paperwork, then I'll gotta pay for it out of his pocket.
I'd like to ask her a question. The Zoom account on his credit card that he's talking about,
Yes,
does that pass muster with the auditors?
yes.
Okay, so the one at the airport would too.
It would, but the issue is that the email comes directly to me, and I forward it directly to Mrs. Rose. So it's not, there's no way to drop it as long as they have access to my email, et cetera. Yes, sir.
Are you saying that the airport commission could have access to your credit card, or they need to get their own credit card? I'm not clear.
Well, a lot of business is transacted with my credit card through Ms. Rose. The question I think you really want to ask directly, I think a direct question would be, have we had issues in the past with paperwork and repayment with the airport? I think,
No, that's not good.
well, but I mean, that's the reason I have hesitancy, is because things have to be done with the auditors. They have to be done a particular way. And if they're not done that way, it doesn't matter what your intention was. What matters is what was done.
So what you're saying is the city's credit card that's in the municipal building will be available to the airport commission?
If they needed to make a justifiable purchase, we have allowed the credit card to be used for the purchases that we've needed. We've allowed that. Up to the amount, or up to the, I think mine is at 5 or something like that, but we've done that.
500?
5,000.
5,000.
Well, of course, the thing is there, you've got these folks that are out there, the ones that are doing the thing, are out at the airport out there, they're not up here. Who would he call if Kyle or needed to get the credit card to make a purchase?
Okay.
Who does he see for that?
Would it be Ms. Rose, or
I don't know.
if?
He's been working directly, a direct link would have been who they have selected as the assistant mayor was the direct contact. That would have been the direct way to get the card, to make the purchases, to hold accountability in the different ways. So, yes, sir. And otherwise, they have worked with Ms. Lauren. If there's any more discussion, all right? Yes, sir.
Well, I think I'm gonna make a motion to table this till our next meeting. Maybe let's do a little more work on it, maybe, I'm kinda thinking, well, I'd like to see, cause I know what a hassle it is to try to go through if you got your personal credit card, you've gotta go through, you had to use it and turn in your slips and pick out which was your personal stuff from the business stuff. And let's just see, how much of that's been going on for the last month or two? And we'll get a little more information to Kyle. I don't think they're in an emergency for this.
And was that the language that you was talking about, if they lose the receipts,
Yeah,
will that be included in the ordinance, or is that necessary?
Right. If it counts as necessary, so what I had written down was charges that are not accompanied by original, receipts shall not be paid by the city and shall be the sole responsibility of every individual making the purchase.
right,
But there would have to be a motion
Yeah.
to amend the ordinance. I'm trying to prepare that. I would say right now, the motion.
We have a motion to table, and
I'm good with that, I'm just trying to talk, I'm just asking about next month when it comes back.
there's a second.
Second.
All right.
voice vote.
Calling for voice. All right. Those in favor, use the voting sign of aye. Those opposed, use the voting sign of nay. Okay. The mayor will present now resolution number 4021.
Resolution number 4021, a resolution to declare the dilapidated structures located at 420 Cleveland a public nuisance and to order the removal of same pursuant to the procedure outlined in ordinance number 1484.
I'd like to make the motion to approve resolution 4021.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Are we ready for discussion? Those in favor use voting sign of aye. Those opposed use voting sign of nay. Ayes have it on resolution 4021. The mayor also will introduce resolution number 4121.
Resolution number 4121, a resolution to declare dilapidated structures located at 817 Visor Avenue a public nuisance and to order the removal of same.
Is there a motion?
Make motion to approve 4121.
There's a motion.
Second.
It's been moved properly second. Are we ready for discussion?
I missed the second, I'm sorry.
Joe.
Okay, thank you.
Those in favor use the voting sign of aye. Those opposed use the voting sign of nay. Ayes have a resolution 4121. We have before us now resolution number 4221, introduced by the mayor.
Resolution number 4221, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Camden, Arkansas, confirming the appointment of Charles Gaston to the Airport Commission and for other purposes.
I'd like to make the motion to approve resolution number 4221.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Are we ready for discussion? I will mention that Mr. Gaston was in the ex officio position and just got, was asked up to the actual voting appointment. Those in favor use voting sign of aye. Those opposed use voting sign of nay. The mayor will also introduce resolution number 4321.
Resolution number 4321, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Camden, Arkansas, confirming the appointment of Trenton Walker to the Airport Commission as an ex officio member.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are ready for discussion? Those in favor use voting sign of aye. Those opposed use voting sign of nay. Ayes have it on resolution number 4321. The mayor will now introduce resolution number 4421.
Resolution number 4421, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Camden, Arkansas, amending the budget for 2021 and for other purposes.
motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moving second, we ready for discussion?
Of course, we've got a new handout here. It's up here. You know, this, kind of way about this, I was about that last thing where we amended the budget for the fuel truck. They gave us an amendment to spend a bunch of money, but they didn't give us an amendment to put in the revenues that was coming with it. And this is kind of the same way with this one. Although they do have a nice worksheet here showing what the real plan is, it's just not put in this ordinance or resolution.
So I'll say that, to go on the record, I get to handle the day-to-day, and you guys determine the amount of money on the lines that we get to use them on. And with that in mind, just know that that's the way this goes, so.
Oh, Kyle's here, okay, I didn't see you come in. Let's ask someone from the airport to come explain this spreadsheet that we had 10 minutes to look at.
Thank you, Kyle Jackson, Airport Chairman. Jason Fletcher is a commissioner on it. So what we're planning on doing is we'd like to amend the budget to 50,000, which could be less, but we want to put in the airport food court project, and that's going to be next to adjacent to the airport liquor. And if you can look at your prints that we gave out there, you can kind of get an aerial view of it. And I'll let Jason kind of run through the information on it, kind of let you guys ask questions for it. So if you would, just ask away with Jason. He'll pretty much answer everything.
Appreciate your time, thank you. So the airport is trying to increase revenue so that we can fund larger projects in the future. We're also trying to help improve our airport and the community. This project checkmarks all three boxes. It allows the community to give a gathering place for food trucks that are popping up in the Camden, East Camden area, servicing the industrial park. It would provide 50-amp receptacle service to these trucks on a pay-per-day rate. Still, that is to be determined. I'm asking for $50,000. That does have some contingency. We're trying to get this project in between $35,000 and $40,000. That would also help with the ROI. If we were to charge a day rate of about $25, our electricity cost would probably be about $3 to $6 a day per receptacle that's being used. So there's about a $20 per day profit on that. If we could fill up half of it, a little over half the time, we could get our money back in about 2 years. And then we could see between $20,000 and $30,000 income coming into the airport to fund other projects. On the back, we have a list of some of the highlights of the food court. It sits on a little over half an acre, adjacent to Nick's Airport Liquor. There is the opportunity to expand to a 0.3-acre lot if we do have overflow, or we need extra parking, or this turns into a big thing and there's more food trucks. We do have room to expand. We would have plug-in electricity, but we would not offer sewage or water. That would be the responsibility of the food truck. We're just taking care of the electricity. We would also be offering free public Wi-Fi. We have a pole there that we can mount an outdoor transmitter. We have high-speed gigabit internet at the airport, and we would be able to stream that to people on their lunch breaks, and we'd also be able to provide that to the food trucks to use for their card readers. There'd be 24/7 recorded security, video security of this area, so that we can monitor who who's there, what food trucks are there, what days they're there, and make sure everything is under control. In the future, we could provide dumpster and portable restroom services if needed. We would obviously get these food trucks under lease. Before they're allowed to come hook up, we would meet with them and get them under a lease that indemnifies the airport and the city of Camden. I talked to you a little bit about the day rate. That is kind of up in the air. We're shooting for about a $20 per day profit, so we could adjust it based on the project cost. We are estimating about a 2-year ROI. Obviously, that could shift. It could be a big success, and we might pay it off in a 1.5 years, or it could be kind of a flub or have a slow start. It might make 2.5, 3 years before it pays off. Worst case scenario, because all of this labor is volunteer through the airport commission, the material costs are still there, so we shovel up the SBT and find something else to do with it. The pad mount transformers and the disconnects and all that could be used for other projects, but hopefully that's not the case. That's a worst case scenario. But the money doesn't just disappear. And I did hit on the volunteer work. This would be done by myself, Kyle, Trent, Charlie. We do try to do a lot of volunteer work at the airport to help keep costs down and help be good stewards of the money that we do have. Do you have any questions?
Fletch, I got a couple questions. Sorry.
Go ahead.
There's a building, the end of Aerojet. How would that would butt up against it or
They would share a corner.
corner? Okay. Now the food trucks that's currently out there, I know one set up there at Nick's Liquor Store, and there's one right on down, the taco stand. I mean, I don't know, are they paying to set in these spots or?
I don't know exactly what their arrangement is with those
Yeah.
people. I have talked to a couple of the owners to try to get some feedback on what they
Yeah.
thought this would look like for them. Nobody said it's a bad idea, I'm not gonna do that, but
Right.
everybody's a little hesitant because they don't know what it's gonna look like. My selling point on this is all these folks are using generators. They're loud, they're noisy, and if you run a generator, it's gonna cost you about $20-30 a day to run it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to come in at a price point that allows you to plug in, not use your generator, not worry or hassle with it, and it's a win-win for both.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. I mean, you're getting them all in a central location. But if they're not being charged to set up, I mean, you know, what,
$25 a day.
no, I'm just saying to set up now. I know
Oh, yeah.
some come out to like Lockheed, some come out to Aerojet, and I don't know if they having to pay anything.
They're running the generators.
Yeah, yeah,
They're running the generator. So the ones that go to Aerojet don't have access to internet.
Yeah.
So there's also very poor cell service there. They have no way, or a very unreliable way of running card transactions. Upside to us is we would offer them free internet.
gotcha.
We mentioned the generator. I'm saying you don't have to worry about your generator, maintaining it, or putting fuel in it every day. I'll give you a place to hook up to. And then, obviously, if you look at places like Hot Springs and Little Rock, where you have these food truck communities,
Right.
it's a major allure to people in the area to go to that location and see if you can have 4 people pile up in one car from the industrial park, place an order. By the time you get there, food's ready, and then each person go to their food truck, and you can choose to sit there and enjoy the area, the public Wi-Fi, or you can hop back in your car and go back to work.
Is there any more discussion? Those in favor use the voting sign of aye. Those opposed use voting sign of nay. Ayes have on resolution 4521. The mayor will also present resolution number 4621. That's 44, I'm sorry, 4421. Now, the mayor will introduce resolution number 4521.
Resolution number 4521, a resolution to declare the dilapidated structure located at 631 Cleveland Street a public nuisance and to order removal of same.
I'd like to make the motion to approve resolution 4521.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on resolution 4521? Those in favor use the voting sign of aye.
Aye.
Those opposed use the voting sign of nay. Ayes have it on resolution number 4521. The mayor will also introduce resolution number 4621.
Resolution number 4621, a resolution to declare the dilapidated structure located at 520 Chestnut Street a public nuisance and to order the removal of same.
I'd like to make the motion to approve resolution 4621.
Yes.
It's been moved and seconded. Ready for discussion?
One quick question, are we currently turned down? I know Kevin's down here, I'm just asking. Are we currently turning down houses now?
Right now, we're just going through the process, which is basically about 90 days to get them, on the condemnation, get the resolution. We hadn't put any, track on anything.
But we're closer now than we've ever been. So, yes, sir, we are working toward it, so I apologize. Don't poke the bear. All right. Is there any other business before council tonight? So, what happened? Oh, I'm sorry. Those in favor use both sides of aye. Those opposed use both sides of nay. Ayes have it. Please forgive me. All right. Is there any other business before council tonight? Yes. Sir. And he has two presentations. We asked him to be brief, but he has two.
I apologize, this wasn't on the agenda. My explanation is such, and I'll hand this out right quick. Let's give the fire truck. The salesman came by, we were looking at the rescue truck, going over some little fine-tuned things on it, under warranty, be sure it's covered. And I told him, hey, I might get back with you, go to the fire truck, we're taking this along, and put next year's budget. And y'all can make a quick decision, yes or no, if you want to sure, put it off, whatever. But he let me know because the 2% increase coming first for all the roads.
Yeah, I have one. I have
I got one.
one. Well, I have one.
There's a 2% increase in manufacturer's price coming as of August 1st. Additional one coming of 3 to 5% in February, which that's next year, we'll worry about that. But the only reason I'm bringing it to the council now, we're talking about $10,800 worth of savings if we're going to purchase a truck in the near future. If the council wants to put it off, I know this is the last minute rush thing, no problem. I just want y'all to be aware of the fact that we are looking at about almost $11,000 in savings. If we go ahead, we don't have to pay for it. Because basically putting it on the list to be manufactured, agreeing to buy it, agreeing to purchase it. I had him come in today, do a spec out on it, they spent all day doing it, just to be sure to hold down a tight price at $541,000. You can see the savings that are in there if we wait. They're listed further down, you'll see them. Whether it's 3% or 5%, we're talking about there's an additional $27,374 increase, a 3% increase, an additional 38, I think, 411 on a 5% increase. We have $248,077 in